Good afternoon, traders. I'm back with another weekly forecast for Forex. The market is quite slow at the moment, but I've singled out a few pairs that might yield some opportunity. So this first one is the Aussie USD. You can see that this one reached a high here and then pulled back down, and we pulled back here to more or less Kijun Sen, and now we're moving down again. So we've broken a fractal there, so I'll put a line on. We've broken that fractal there. Now it looks like we're trying to pull back maybe to that fractal. So usually when we break a fractal, we pull back to that fractal, and then we can take a trade to the downside. As you can see here, we broke this fractal coming down. We broke that fractal, then we pulled all the way right back to that fractal, right on the nose, and then we moved down again. So we could possibly pull back to this fractal, and then we could take the trade to the downside if we get some price action. We've got a bearish future, we've got a bearish Chico below price, and we've got a bearish TK cross. You can see Tenkan's pulling away from Kijun Sen slightly because of the big move. That's because of the big move here. Okay, because we want to be looking at 26 periods back for Kijun Sen. That's how Kijun Sen's plotted. It's the candles that are 26 periods back that plots Kijun Sen, and the candles that are 9 back plot Tenkan Sen. Okay, so that's the Aussie USD. There's nothing really getting me excited at the moment on any of the pairs, but we can still have a look. This one, we haven't got a Kumo cross yet. We haven't got a bearish cross yet, but we have got a Kumo breakout, and it's broken out of this flat cloud, which is quite significant. So we'll just have a look back, see what we're faced with, and you can see we've got a TK cross that's above the cloud, which is a weak signal, and we've got Chico below price, although it's in the cloud. So we could take a trade here, we could have taken the trade there, we could still get in now and put a stop loss up above near Tenkan Sen, so I'll put a line on. We could put a stop loss up there. That's 46.49, and if we got in now, that'd be 45.87. So that'd be about 80 pip stop loss. 70 pip stop loss, sorry. About a 70 pip stop loss, which is getting near to my limit. My limit is about 70-80 pips. And obviously we'd have to check the news. I don't trade news, some traders do. I know a few traders that trade news, and if we do trade news, we'd wait for the news. Like this candle here, this could have been a big news candle, so we'd wait for the news to reach a high, and then we'd trade it back down to the downside if it was a news candle. Just off the top of my head, I don't know if these are news candles. This one's probably a news candle. But you can see this is how we'd trade this news. Show you. This looks like a news candle. To move that far in 4 hours, which is what this time frame is, that looks like a news candle. So I'll move this line and I'll show you how we'd trade it. I wouldn't trade news. I never trade news, but some traders trade news. Now you don't trade on the news when it's going in that direction. You wait for it to start to reach a low or a high, which the low would have been here, and then you'd wait for it to start pulling back. So if it pulled back, say 30-40 pips, so the low there is about, let's have a look, 44.89. So if it pulled back 30-40 pips, then we could get in. We could trade it all the way back up, and you can see what happened. It pulled all the way back. Because when we use candles, usually it moves a significant amount in one direction, whichever bias the news is, and then it usually pulls back, and that's when we'd get in. So it's too dangerous to get in as the candle's moving. But what we'd do is we could wait for it to start pulling back, because when there's a significant news event, it moves quite a bit in one direction, and then it'd probably pull back, probably at least half of the way. Some of the time it pulls all the way back to where it originally started from. So that's how you'd trade news if you wanted to trade news. But I wouldn't recommend trading news until you're really proficient with your trading and confident. And I never trade news anyway. I do know how to trade news, but I never do it, because it's just not my cup of tea, really. Like I've said before, I just prefer... I'm very selective in what I trade. And that's what you want to do, really. To be profitable, you want to know what you're successful with, and trade that, and stick to what you know, and preferably as well stick to which pairs you know, because each pair's got a different personality. So I've got my favourite pairs, which I've mentioned a few times in these videos. Pound USD's a favourite. This Euro CAD's a favourite of mine. Euro Pound I like. CAD Yen's not too bad. The ones I don't trade is a Swiss franc. I don't trade any Swiss franc pairs. That's why you never see me looking at any Swiss franc pair. And the Aussie pairs seem to move quite fast, especially the Pound Aussie. But the Aussie USD I've traded quite a few times. But some pairs are more successful than others when you get to know them. And like I've said, the Pound USD is my favourite pair. My second favourite's probably Euro Yen or Euro Pound, something like that. Because you get to know how different pairs move. You don't want pairs that are spiking all over the place. So anyway, I've gone off on a bit of a tangent there, but I just thought I'd like to share some new information with you in every video if possible, rather than just talk about what the market's doing. I like to share a bit of information as well, so that you're learning something out of these videos each time. So that's why I go off on a tangent sometimes. I like to just throw something else in there. So this is the Euro CAD. Like I say, if we get this cross here, this Kumo cross, and we get a bearish future, then I'd probably take it to the downside. But at the moment, I don't think I'm going to take it to the downside at the moment, because really we should have been on that candle there, the close of that, if we're taking the Kumo breakout. But it's not really valid yet, and we can't. We don't want to start breaking Ichimoku rules. If we're trading Ichimoku, we need to stay with Ichimoku. We start breaking rules, then you start breaking other things. You'd start ignoring TK crosses, and you'd start ignoring where Chico is, and then before you know where you are, you're losing. So we try not to break rules. But obviously, sometimes we go against Ichimoku if the price action looks more appealing. So that's the Euro CAD. Euro Pound. Again, we're in a downtrend. We've been in a downtrend for quite a while, as you can see. we reached a high there at 9308. And then we've been in a down trade. We've had a few pullbacks here and there. You can see how we pulled back to tenkens then. We could have taken any of these trades, look. This is why this Ichimoku system's good. And this is another reason why Euro Pound's one of my favourite pairs, because it follows Ichimoku quite well. As you can see, we had a bearish signal there off tenkens then, and we'd have had a good trade there to the downside. Although it pulled back there, but we'd have made some profit at least. And then we got another bearish signal there. We got that rejection there. We've got a sort of an hangman there, which is a reversal signal. I talk about all these reversal signals in my course, tradingtoprofit.com. But you know, I'm using the terminology, presuming you know all the terminology already. If you don't, then I'd recommend taking the course. So we've got an hangman there at the top, at the Kijun-sen, sorry, and with straight after a doji, so that's a good reversal signal. And we could have taken that to the downside. We've got a bit of profit there, then we'd have probably got out here with a bit of profit. And then you can see we had another big bullish candle there which broke through Tenkan-sen and Kijun-sen. Then we had another bearish signal here bouncing on Kijun-sen, and then we had some indecision, and then we had another big bearish candle, so we could have taken that trade there, especially because we were just about breaking these fractals. So we may have waited until we broke the fractal, but you can see we had a bit of indecision, then we would have had a really good trade to the downside on the Euro Pound. And I class the Euro Pound as a good value pair, in the fact that you never seem to need a really big stop loss with the Euro Pound. You know, it's always in the region of, sometimes you can get away with 20, 25, 30 pips with the Euro Pound. That's what I've found anyway. It's quite good value. It moves at a steady pace. It's not fast, it's not slow, but it moves at a steady pace, and it gives you a good value trade. So, you know, you get in, you can have a stop loss of 25, 30 pips, and then, you know, it's gives you a good risk to reward ratio. So, as you can see there, that would have been probably 5, 6, 7 to 1, that trade there, if you just stayed in. I mean, there'd have been no reason to get out, because you didn't really, I suppose you broke above Kijun, Tenkan-sen there, but you still had, it still looked really bearish, the whole setup, because you've got Chiku below price. So if you'd have got in up here, I don't think I wouldn't have got out there, because we'd not broken a bull fractal, and with Tenkan-sen and Kijun-sen were still pointing, you know, down, drastically down, and we still had, you know, a strong bearish future, Kumo future. So there's no way I'd have got, if I'd have been in this trade here, I wouldn't have got out there. Then obviously we had all this, probably news candle, and then we continued to the downside, and this is where we'd have got out, up here. Break above Tenkan-sen, or we didn't break Kijun-sen, but we'd have probably got out of the break of that Tenkan-sen. And if we'd have been brave and stayed in, if a strategy would have been to get out on a break of Kijun-sen, we'd have never been out until here. So we'd have got all that profit, but that would have been about the same level anyway. So if we'd have got out there at the break above Tenkan-sen, we'd have had a really good profit, probably 6, 7 to 1 on that one. That would have been about 200 pips, I imagine, 250 pips. So, and we'd have had probably 25, 30 pip stop loss. So that's not a bad risk to reward. 25 pips for 250. It's more like a 10 to 1. But I'd have probably had a stop loss at about 35 pips. And I don't just go for the minimum stop loss. I try and give it a little bit of room to move 5 or 10 pips extra, because it can always come back, and you know, sometimes it can spike you out and then go your way. So I always like to leave it a bit of extra pips. So it looks like we've broken a fractal here. We could have got in there. Would have been quite in order to get in there. And now it looks like we're just going to wait on, see what happens here with this Tenkan Sen. Tenkan Sen's still pointing to the downside, and Chico's still below price, and we've still got bearish future. So there's no reason to think long here. We're breaking bear fractals, as you can see here. These last few candles. It's always better to look at the recent activity rather than before. Like, I know we made an higher bear fractal there, but that's cancelled out as soon as we break a new bear fractal. And then we broke another one there, we broke another one there, and another one there. So are we going to continue breaking bear fractals? We need to check the news as well, make sure there's no news on any pair. If we're not trading news, that is. And I don't trade news, like I say, so I just check to see if make sure there's no news to interfere with my trade. So on to the CAD yen. Like I say, there's not many opportunities today, but I've singled out these few. There's about 5 pairs I've singled out. So this one looks like we're going to bounce off Kijun Sen. We're in between the cloud. We're inside the cloud, so that's a medium strength signal. We've got a bearish future, but it's not a very strong bearish future, because you can see how flat it is, top and bottom. You can see I've got this daily Kijun Sen on here, so that could be quite significant, because the Kijun Sen is the market equilibrium. The price likes to get back to Kijun Sen, and that's the daily Kijun Sen, that blue dashed line. So you can see we're between the Tenkan Sen and Kijun Sen at the moment. So if we could get some price action here, it might be tempting to take the trade to the downside, but I don't like all this garbage here, these fractals, and just, you know, doing nothing. All this time it was doing nothing. So I think for me to take a trade on this pair, I'd have to break below this cloud. I'll put a line on. We'd have to break below there, because we'd break below that fractal as well, and then put my stop loss just above the bottom of the cloud, or maybe just at Tenkan Sen. So that's the like I say, it probably will pull back at some stage to this daily Kijun Sen, because it likes to get back into equilibrium. So that's the CAD yen, and this is the last pair, New Zealand dollar yen. Again, it's not a very good opportunity, to say the least. I mean, we're looking bearish, but we've got this daily Kijun Sen here, which could be a big support level. We're in between the cloud, which is a medium strength. We've got no bearish future yet, and the TK crosses above the cloud, so that's a weak signal as it is, until it gets in the cloud and below the cloud. Chico spans below price, but it's got to get through this Kijun Sen, and then it's got to get through this daily Kijun Sen. So it's got to get through 4-hour Kijun Sen and daily Kijun Sen. So, and we've got some fractal here that we'd have to get through. So the market's not looking good this week, I'm afraid. There's not many good opportunities in what I trade. So I don't know if you guys can find any better opportunities. Oops, I didn't want to do that. So the way I trade, I don't see much happening on the 4-hour charts anyway. And to me, if there's nothing on the 4-hour charts, there probably won't be much on the 1 hour, unless you're going to do a bit of scalping and get a few pips here and there. But you know, that involves sitting at charts, and I don't want to do that. Drive me up the wall watching charts all day. That's why I don't trade lower time frames. And also it can affect your decisions as well, because you react to the market more. I do anyway. I've tried trading the lower time frames and it just plays with my mind too much. It could be profitable. It's a very slow process, and you know, the market just plays tricks on you. It does me. It plays tricks on my mind, and you know, I like to just look at the chart every 4 hours and make my decisions from that. I mean, you can be profitable trading lower time frames, but I just think it just involves sitting at the charts, and it's not my cup of tea really. So that's, like I say, we've got to get through this daily Kijun-sen, and this is a strong level. As you can see, we've got that rejection there. We've got to get through this daily Kijun-sen before we can even look at this. I've put this line on here, look at this fractal. So not only have we got the daily Kijun-sen, we've got this fractal level, and we're inside the cloud, so it could bounce off any of these levels back to the upside. And like I say, the TK cross is only a weak signal because it's above the cloud. So even though we've got a TK cross, we could quite easily pull back right up. So that's it really. I mean, there's nothing. There's no opportunities that I'm going to be taking in the next day or two. So I might have another look in a couple of days, see what's changed, and you know, if I see some opportunities, I'll make another video, and talk about the trades. So I hope this has been useful to you. I try and put a bit of, you know, different information in each video, try and help people. You know, trying to help you to be successful trading. And that's about it really. Don't forget, if you want to take my course, that's tradingtoprofit.com. I put all the trade setups on the website as well, and you know, anything else that I see I'll post on there. So I want to try and start posting on there on a regular basis and try and build the site up. So until next time, good luck in your trading, and I'll see you soon. Bye.